All right, good Saturday evening. I'm meteorologist Byron Douglas. Hope everyone's doing well. And we do have flash flood warnings, a severe thunderstorm watch, which was dropped at 8 o'clock. We have no active warnings on the board. We were tracking some radar indicated tornado warnings down through Paducah, just south of the viewing area. We'll bring you up to date on that in a moment. Look, this is where I need you guys. If you have a rainfall report, I'm going to show you what's been estimated. But at the airport, we had 2.97 record rainfall for June 27th. We had about 2.2 back in 2020, so we set a rainfall record. In 3 days, I added it up, 5.99 in the rain gauge officially at the airport. I think we can bump that up to 6 inches. To put that in a little bit of perspective, we've had 23 inches of precipitation for the year, and of course we collected 6 inches in 3 days. Some areas have had 7, 8 inches of rainfall. So here's a look at the flash flood warnings. I'll bring you up to date on the timing. It still includes Gibson, Pike, Jasper, Huntingburg, Du Bois, Perry, northern Hancock, and then into Ohio County, southern stretches there of Hancock County. And the areas here in green, that's a flood watch that will end tomorrow morning, scheduled to go Sunday morning until about 7 a.m., I believe. And there's a look at the severe thunderstorm watch. And the best case for a warning generally would be across western Kentucky, points to our south. But then after 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we have a chance for a few thunderstorms during that stretch. Here's a look. I'm just going to take this full for a moment so I can acknowledge a few folks. There's a look. That's a heat advisory for Sunday, and then we'll go into an extreme heat watch as we go into next week. That's going to be the theme through Thursday. Lenny, you have a pretty active day over in Whitesville there in eastern Davis County. Laura from Dawson Springs, hello to you. 2 inches to 3.2, 2 inches by Bossy Field, 3.2 total, 2.96 on the east side. Thanks for these rain reports. They're invaluable. It helps us go back and match up what we had on the radar. So I thank you for those reports. Let's keep them coming in. We've talked to folks that have towns, and we want to acknowledge all those rain totals. Here's the heat index on Sunday, the coolest part of the day. You guys know the drill is always going to be during the morning hours or after sundown. Sundown's at 8:17. Yeah, the heat index kind of in a range there of 100 to 105. And let's take a look at the impacts. We're in that range of 90 to 105. We'll climb as we go into next week. And again, just limit if you can spend as much time in the air conditioning as you can. If you don't, the ground floor, but have a place to go where you can stay safe. And that's going to be the theme as we go into next week. And right now, the 4th of July, we'll give you the update on that, but it's going to be fairly seasonable. This is really the quietest the radar has looked since before sunup this morning. So no showers or storms here on the board. And here's a look here at the radar. It's going to take a second for it's going to populate. Now, this is the dual polarization of Doppler radar. I might capture about 80% of what has fallen. I went back 24 hours. So everybody's mileage might vary, but Brownsville, that's down there in Mammoth Cave country. That's we're going to have to keep an eye on all the rivers. And then the eastern stretches there of Ohio County. Some areas had 3 or 4 rounds of rain. Out at the airport, 2.97, Ward County 4. Some folks have had more than that. So if you see this and you're disappointed in your total, but 10.5 up there in southern stretches of Knox, up there in Hazleton along the White River. Had lesser amounts across southern Illinois, and then Edwards, Wabash, and Fairfield, where we're tracking those storms, a little bit more there. And as I mentioned, I'm going to just grab this full for a moment and see if we have a few more rain reports. Of course, I'll update this here at 10 o'clock. It updates generally on the hour. Hello, Tara, down in White Plains on southern Hopkins County. Hope everybody's doing well. Patrick on the west side of Evansville, over in Jeff Lyons country, 6.5 on the west side. That's an incredible. In total, Jeff Miller in Savah, western Posey County, 2.9. And we have 6 inches here in Newburgh since Thursday. Wow, some big amounts. We appreciate the reports. And of course, Burdett Park is flooded. That's going to be a no-go for tomorrow. They're going to work hard to try to get the pool open. We're going to have more on that at 14 News. Barbara's going to have more on that coming up at 10. So there's a look at those incredible totals. It's hard to believe that some areas a few weeks ago had extreme drought-like conditions. So as I mentioned, some areas there are northern stretches there of Gibson County. And they had these mini supercells. We had, and again, I want to mention in Muhlenberg County, and then the tornado warning there in far south, it was east of Drakesboro. And then the tornado warning we had for northern stretches there of Posey, Owensville into Gibson County, up to about Hopstott and Fort Branch. No major damage and no confirmed tornadoes there. And these mini supercells to the south, southern stretches of Christian County, where they had these just narrow in scope, maybe a couple of zip codes worth of tornado warnings there. And we saw this, we picked this up there in Paducah, but the winds punched these a little from the northwest to the south and east, so they steered clear of our southern tiered counties. So no reports of damage there, but there was some interesting looking clouds. But we'll just take the last warning, I believe, was there in Christian County, but that's off the board now. Very stubborn. So scattered thunderstorms, 3, 4 in the morning. You might get up early and hear some thunder. We might catch a warning or two. Overcast to sun, scattered thunderstorms. The heat index will be the story, which I illustrated about 100 to 105. And then as we go into next week, it's going to climb higher than that. Let's take a look. I'm using the graph model. I didn't pull up the HRRR here. I'm going to kind of scoot this along and then go back to your, so here we go at 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Hopefully we miss out on all this, but not expecting much. So I think the best chance for thunderstorms will actually unfold during the morning hours on Sunday. And then in the afternoon with so much moisture, this convective type heating, you can get some bubbles. Bubbling clouds where you see a few isolated storms, but the severe weather threats, we're kind of in a, we'll check in with the Storm Prediction Center. So if you're watching the final there at the Travelers there in Hartford, Connecticut, we don't expect any delays while you're watching the final look there at the tournament there. So general risk, threats there in Virginia, North, South Carolina, a general risk for some gusty thunderstorms. Once in a while we'll catch a warning. A severe thunderstorm. We're not risk for a tornado threat on Sunday. And this is, we'll kind of be in the soup next week where we'll probably have these level, general or to a level 1 threat, but we're going to be into a drier pattern, so which is going to be, we'll be good to go there, but we're looking at heat. So Monday is just going to be hot. Keep in mind, maybe you haven't cut your grass in a few days and outdoors early as opposed to during the day. Take some breaks out there, especially if you're working in these construction zones. You guys are familiar with that. I'm going to just push out to the 7-day here. I'm going to take this full so I don't eclipse the 7-day, and we'll just grab this. So I'm not going to. So the alert days through Thursday, then we'll evaluate Friday and Saturday. Yeah, 94 Friday, but it's all dependent on that feel-like temperature, the heat index. 10, 20% chance of thunderstorms. Then the 4th of July. 93 for a high. So as the old saying goes, July is going to do what it's going to do. But, it's going to be welcome to have, usually this time of year, we're in the market for some showers. Thomas, 30-mile-an-hour wind recorded today. That was pretty typical of what we're seeing on Doppler. The highest wind I had up there was about 50. Ricky Brown in Maceo, 5 inches of rain. Thanks for that report. You had some pretty good storms there in eastern, well, all of Davis County for most of our viewing area as well. And I'll just go back and look at some reports. Again, I appreciate all the rain totals. I mentioned 6 inches of rain in the past 3 days. I'll go back and I'm just going to kind of reset the table here, and I'll leave it up here for a few minutes. I'll have more coming up at 10. Barbara, on the news side, we're going to have reports of flooding, obviously a major concern. But we're not looking at any additional where we're looking at late night thunderstorms or anything like that. So the tornado threat and the severe weather threats have moved to the south, even though we could bump into a severe thunderstorm or two late tonight and then early tomorrow. So there's a look at those flash flood warnings. Again, a lot of times we see the red, the orange and yellow. The blue is a flash flood warning. We take this seriously. We talked at 6. Maybe you're working the midnight shift or you're going to be out. Of course, the sun now has set and you're not going to have good visibility, and you're going to, some of these low spots, even if you don't see these areas here, Waverly, Corden, slaughter, some of the usual low spots. We have flooded roadways out there, so you guys do the best to stay safe, and we'll get through this, and then we'll transition into some heat. I'll have more at 10. Thanks for all your help today, and I also want to thank our crew there in the back. I've done a wonderful job. Xander and Eric have been here helping me get things. There's a lot of buttons in here. I remember seeing that when I was flying back in my flight days. It's kind of a joke. All right, Patrick, since 6.5. Nancy, good evening to you. Julie, good evening to you guys. And we'll talk to you soon. I'll leave this up here for a few minutes. I'll see you at 10. If not, enjoy the rest of your weekend.